Hi, Grace. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Cheryl. How are you?
Good. It's so fun to meet someone on social media and then actually get to talk to them live.
Yeah, I know. And so, did I hear a heat wave?
Yes, we're having a heat wave. I
Oh,
forget what the Celsius. I think it's 34 Celsius. Is that right? It's really
oh,
hot.
oh well,
Yeah.
look, I need to be where you are, Cheryl. Seriously, I think we need to swap, please.
Oh no. Is it cold in the UK?
It's a weird kind of miserable day. It's kind of,
Oh.
I don't know, it's a strange one here. It's kind of muggy. It's a weird kind of,
Oh yeah.
yeah, not enough breeze. It's just kind of a weather.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm sorry. Yeah, we got so lucky because we had already planned a trip to the Oregon coast, which is where the near the ocean. So it's always cooler near, almost always cooler near the ocean. So,
Yeah,
and
nice.
yeah, yay. Do you find like weather changes affect your joints at all?
Oh,
Like
it
humidity?
does. It does. I think it's quite
Yeah.
common for many of us RA
Yes.
warriors, to be fair, that in
Yeah.
the excruciating cold months, that's when it really gets to us, our joints, etc. The summer
Yeah.
months, we've got a bit more spring in our step. Summer,
Yeah.
good mood,
Yeah.
good vibes. It's all. I guess it's all part of the whole mental mind work psyche.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's so interesting because I don't find that the cold makes my joints worse, but the humidity does. So if it's
Mm,
like humid and like I guess it's the barometric pressure sometimes. If it's humid, that can definitely, like when I go to Hawaii, my
yeah.
joints are sore
Yeah,
usually.
yeah. I
So
think for me,
yeah.
yeah, definitely. Where it's the two extremes, whether it's really cold or really hot, I
Hmm.
find that's when, yeah, my body just goes into
Yeah, it's
pure pain
hard.
mode as well.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Well, I'm so happy that you're coming on today. We're trying something a little different. We're going to try to use this recording as a podcast as well, which is such a great idea. I've never thought of that. So Grace brought it up. She's like, "Oh, can we just do a live and then you can put that on the podcast?" I was like, "Yes. Why not?"
Yeah, I'm just all about repurposing all that good stuff, good content. Why not
So
repurpose
smart.
it? So,
Exactly. I'm trying to do that work smarter, not harder kind of thing.
yes, exactly that. So many lovely people jumping on.
I
Hello,
know. It's
I'm
so great.
excited.
I know.
Ah,
Hi, everyone. And yeah, so feel free to ask any questions in the chat, but I think I'll start by just asking you, can you give a quick introduction to yourself, like, and your relationship to arthritis?
yes, yeah. So I'm Grace Nelson, and I am a business growth coach, and I help women in corporate who want to start an online business while still in 9 to 5. So my rheumatoid arthritis journey started at the age of 20. So
Wow.
I was just about to go into my final year of university studying law.
Hmm.
And you can imagine the final year in university is very tense in terms of all the exams, all the studying, and I just didn't know what was happening. I
Yeah.
remember I I thrive in heat. I absolutely love
Oh, yeah.
heat. So I would
Yeah.
always have the heaters on, even if it is hot sun outside.
Wow.
And I just remember one day just waking up and just from head to toe, my whole body was aching. I felt very stiff in myself and I couldn't move. And
Yeah.
it scared the life out of me because it just comes suddenly, RA, all the symptoms.
Hmm.
So I didn't know what was going on. And I just felt really weak in myself to the point whereby I couldn't even hold a cup or a plate.
Yeah.
Just everything felt like 10 times the effort to do. Um,
Right.
and also, I was experiencing a lot of fatigue. So
Yeah.
I just kind of put it down to maybe I'm having the heater on full blast. Maybe it's
Hmm.
taken an effect on me. So this continued for a couple of weeks, and it got to the point whereby I was struggling to walk. I
Yeah.
was in so much pain to even put my foot flat on the ground to get to uni to actually go to class to study. So I remember sometimes I'll be coming back and forth from my mum's house, my parents' house, back and forth from uni. So
Hmm.
I went home and we decided that, it's probably high time that I actually go and see somebody about this, because I
Hmm.
can't carry on like this. And it was quite worrying, especially how I just kind of deteriorated.
Right.
You know, just suddenly I was okay, and then the next minute I was in excruciating pain. So we went to the doctors first of all, and we referred to the hospital consultant, did countless tests. I can't remember the number of tests I did, you know, back and forth, lots of blood tests. And then it came to the point whereby I remember going in with my mum and sitting down with the doctor consultant. And he said to me, Grace, it looks like you've got rheumatoid arthritis. And at the time, you know, I didn't know what rheumatoid arthritis was. And I'd always associated arthritis with the elderly, you know, the wear and tear of the joints, and etc. So, you know, you can just imagine, you know, I was kind of like, what? You know, what is this? As he explained about rheumatoid arthritis and the fact that at that time, it wasn't that common in people my age, you know, being only 20. And also the fact that it wasn't hereditary, even though we know rheumatoid arthritis isn't hereditary as well. I wasn't really aware of, at that time, I wasn't aware of anyone else in my family that had autoimmune conditions. But since then, it seems that so many do. So it was, it's like I opened up the portal now that more and more of my family members are coming to me saying, oh, Grace, you know, we've got rheumatoid arthritis. I'm like, oh, gosh. Please, no, not another one. So I mean, I was at a point in my life where I didn't quite know what this would mean for me, but I wasn't fully taking it on board what the consultant was saying. Because I thought, you know, I was a very active, you know, I used to be a sprint runner, so short distance sprint runner.
Oh, wow.
And used to compete in championships, really active. You know, I was always on the dance floor, just really an active girl. So for this to happen, it really rocked my world, and I didn't understand the consequences of what may happen. So I was put on treatment. You know, I didn't even understand what the treatment would do for me. So put on a number of treatments and was just trying that, but I'm not good with medication, especially at that time. You know, I hated the whole thought of having to take medication every single day. It just seemed like a real chore, something that I wasn't signed up for. So I pretended I was taking the medication.
Oh no, I do not recommend that.
I know. So, and I don't recommend that either. But it was an odd thing, Cheryl, because when I would go back for blood tests, the doctors would say to me, oh, looks like the level of inflammation is actually decreasing. I was like, oh, okay. This is good. But I have to admit, it probably has taken its effect on me now. You know, those times that I pretended I was taking medication, it's prolonged it.
It's hard to know for sure, but
It's hard to know. Yeah, exactly. So, I think for me, it was since then. So I still, right now, I have to say that I am suffering from a really severe postpartum flare-up.
I'm so sorry.
I know. Well, so my daughter's going to be 1 next month. And it was just for me, this is my first child, I have to say. So, you know, all the excitement of having a child. And then during pregnancy, it was happy days for me, Cheryl, because I went into remission. I had a new lease of life during my pregnancy. So, you know, very fit, able to do things. And it was a very good pregnancy. And then giving birth, I had a C-section. So I had a couple of weeks healing from the C-section, and that was painful in itself. Very painful. But I'm so lucky that I've got a very supportive hubby who was just able to help me and, you know, care for the little one, etc. But it seems that my rheumatoid arthritis, the flare-up, was actually waiting. That as soon as my C-section, I was healed from that, I just went whoosh into overdrive, complete flare-up, and I'm still healing from that since. And
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thank you. And I have to say that it hasn't been easy, especially in the last couple of months. Physically, I have deteriorating more than ever, to the point
Mm-hmm.
whereby I actually can't move my shoulders, my arms up.
Okay.
So I'm very
That's
much
so
restricted.
hard
I
with holding it.
know.
How do you hold your baby?
Well,
Yeah.
this
Oh,
is it. It's a real struggle. Everything is 10 times the effort. It's a real struggle.
yeah.
And, you know, having a baby, that's your greatest joy, to be able to hold your baby, hug your baby, lift your baby, do all the things.
Yeah.
But it's balancing now the fact that physically I'm able to do what most mothers can do. And the
Right.
pain is constant throughout, but still having to be there and do all the things as a mum, you know, still lift her up and you know, act, you know, do the necessary mother duties. And it's not easy, but for me, I think most of my life has been a case of just adapting to what I can do and just doing the best I can do in any situation. So
Right. Yeah. And that's, yeah, having a new child. What I found, because I have one child as well, very similar situation, diagnosed at 20. And then when I had my first child, I went into remission during pregnancy and then a terrible postpartum flare up. And I think it's hard because you're learning how to be a mom.
yes.
And you're learning how to be a mom with arthritis. So it's like two separate things,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
And so I just, you know, my heart goes out to you. I hope I ended up having to switch medications because my original medication I was on never worked as well after my son was born. So I want to say for anyone listening that the latest episode of the Arthritis Life podcast, I had an interview with Mariah Leach from Mamas Facing Forward. And she gave a lot of resources. There's a lot out there from mother to baby, but it's still hard. The individual circumstances are always hard if you're in the middle of a flare. So
yeah, and that's a brilliant episode, and I actually need to re-listen to that as well. So thank you for doing that episode. And
no problem.
Thank you. And just like you, Cheryl, I've been on a number of medications. You know, some haven't worked, so they've been switching this, applying for funding for me to trial new things. So now I'm on a medication where I take it twice a year, every 6 months. Last time, so a few months after, a month after my postpartum flare up kicked off, I took this treatment, I should say, and it didn't have any effect whatsoever. So I am due another one coming up, but in and around that, I am trying to be more active with myself, you know, booking into private hydrotherapy sessions as well.
Oh, great.
And just doing as much as I can to actually move my limbs, because of course the stiffness, you know, I don't want my body to be locked in a certain position, which is what can happen. And, you know, the same has happened to my wrists because I wasn't that mindful of my wrists. So now I don't have any flexibility in my wrists. And, you know, these are the things that happen behind the scenes to us, where we're kind of fighting an ongoing battle with our, you know, with our bodies. But people don't know the realities of how it is, where every night when I go to bed, you know, the pain, the agony is there, waking up very stiff. It's a struggle to go to the bathroom, and your body's constantly in this warming up kind of phase, just kind of almost trying to grease the joints to get them moving. But yes, it's not easy at all.
And I'm struck by the fact that, like, when I first, you know, met you on Instagram, I'm like looking at your profile, like, oh, she's doing so great. Like, look at all these beautiful pictures. And we all do that, right? We look at someone else and think that their life must be easier than ours, or maybe just their life is a certain way. And so, you're really fighting like more of like an invisible battle.
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly it. And
what are some, oh, sorry, go on.
No, that's why I was very excited to, you know, connect with your community and just see the amazing stuff that you're doing to create more awareness. And it's something that I feel is a personal mission of mine as well, with you know, so many young people, especially now, having more autoimmune conditions than ever before, just shining a light that you're not alone. And there is light at the end of the tunnel. I know that in this moment now, it can feel like a painful reality. But by being in a supportive community like yours, hearing from other like-minded people that are going through it, you know, you take the inspiration from, you know, as you know, you can pick and choose, etc. But take what you need for yourself in order just to help you just move forward day by day, step by step, because it is, you know, with everything, it's a process. So it's for you to navigate through and find out what works well for you and how to feel
Yes.
good in yourself as well.
Absolutely. And that was, you're actually anticipating my next question perfectly, which was going to be, what are some of the things that have helped you cope, either like with the physical demands, like life hacks, or mental coping? Anything you want to mention about coping, I would
Yeah.
love to hear. Yeah.
So I do a lot of inner work, Cheryl. So a lot of mindset work,
Yeah.
working on my mind, and just trying to reframe things. Because before, I would say in the early days of, or early years of having my arthritis, I was kind of in this pity stage. Oh, pity me, I can't do this anymore. And
Yeah.
that was not serving me or helping me whatsoever.
Mm-hmm,
If anything, it was probably
mm-hmm.
making the flare-ups worse. And, you know, it wasn't the case of, oh, I can't do this anymore. You know, my life is diminishing as I know it. You know, that whole mindset wasn't serving me, but it was actually taking on board those thoughts and actually getting to the core of why I'm feeling like that. And I remember writing a list of all the things that I can do, can't do, and
Yeah.
want to do. And it was a very powerful list, because obviously all the things that in the can't do list was probably the longest column when I started out. And then I found myself crossing off a lot of things. All the things that I was saying I can't do, I actually could do, but it was all up here. I'd actually almost, you know, through, you know, programming, etc., I told myself I can't do certain things. So
Yeah.
that was a very liberating exercise for me. And I would recommend anyone listening as well, just to do that, just to see that you can actually do a lot of things. And it's all here, what your mind, your subconscious mind's actually telling you.
Interesting. Did you learn that process through like a formal therapy, or did you just discover it on your own? Like how did you learn to do that exercise? Because it sounds great.
I think it was an extension of the coaching that I do. So
Oh
myself
yeah.
and my business partner. So we're always doing, you know, doing lists, working on our thoughts and beliefs. So it was just something that with
Mm-hmm.
business and life, it's a complete integration, you know, they're one and the
Mm-hmm.
same. So by
Yes.
doing this, yeah, by doing this exercise, I found it really liberated me in myself to know that, oh my gosh, I can actually do a lot more. And
Yeah.
like I was saying, it's a case of adapting, just knowing
Mm-hmm.
that, okay, some things are not going to be easy to do, but let me do what I can, etc. And the things that are a struggle, just go easy on myself, you know, give myself a lot of grace and compassion, love on my body, and know that my body is working hard for me, you know, or
Mm-hmm.
it's helping me to actually manage this condition, and we're doing the best that
Right.
we can together. So,
Yeah.
and that's one thing I have to say, growing up, I never took my health that seriously. It was
Mm.
always, when it came to my list of priorities, it was always probably the last on the list,
Hmm.
something that I really took for granted. But
Mm-hmm.
here, being in the here and now, it's something that I'm very mindful of, just loving on myself, showing myself compassion, knowing that my body is working the best for, you know, us both of us. And
Yeah.
just continually working on my mind, surrounding myself with,
Yes.
you know, brilliant people like yourself.
Oh.
Just, you know, seriously, Cheryl, you know,
Yeah.
you're inspiring a nation, you know, with
Oh,
your
geez.
hacks and tools.
No, but yeah, I really I am the most interested in all of the things to do with managing rheumatoid arthritis. The mental part is my favorite part to think about and talk about. My unofficial tagline for Arthritis Life is come for the life hacks, stay for the coping tools, or stay for the emotional support, because you're so right. And it's not just like, oh, mind over matter, like we need to just like change our minds so we don't like perceive our pain or anything. Like for me,
Yes,
that's part of that self-compassion, like you mentioned, and mindfulness is being conscious of the present moment and allowing it to be as it is, and then
yes,
seeing what are the possibilities, like you mentioned, what can I still do? Because if we focus, and this is one of my soapboxes, but if we, a lot of people, when they first get diagnosed, especially, they focus very, very narrowly on how can I cure or heal this and make it go
yes,
away, which is,
yes,
I want to validate that that's totally a logical, like, pursuit that you would want to do. But when you continue in that mindset year after year after year, then you're blinded to all these possibilities of what you could still do, even despite, because the fact is some people are going to find a cure or a way to heal it, but a lot of people aren't, otherwise
Yeah.
we would all be cured. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, sorry, went totally off on my soapbox, but yeah, the
No,
mental
that's it.
piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
No.
recalibrating. Yeah.
Yeah. It's exactly that. Yeah. I love that word, recalibrating. And just
Yeah.
accepting that, I'm on a healing journey. So to give
Yeah.
myself that space, that time to heal. And
Mm-hmm.
like you said, what works well for some people may not work well for you. So it's just finding your own rhythm.
Yeah.
I do trial and experiment with things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Mm.
So I guess what else was I going to say? I was going to say something, Cheryl. Something popped into my
Oh,
head
shoot.
when you had your soapbox moment.
Yeah, I know. I just like, well, I want to make sure I address, because if that comes back, go for it. But
Yeah.
Dwayne had a great question. Apart from the medications, what other therapies have worked for us? But let's start with you. So have you done any like physiotherapy, or gone to other kinds of like formal kinds of, I guess, like I've gone to, I guess I can start. I've done physical therapy, occupational therapy. I am an occupational therapist, but I've also gone to one that was a
Yes.
hand specialist. So that's something I really recommend. A certified hand therapist. That's who made my customized splints. And they specialize in the hands. And of course, I've gone to therapy with a psychologist as well. But I agree with what you're saying. I've done some actually business coaching programs that are all about like the mindset as well, and that's really helped. And a couple other things that what else have I actually, I went to a physiatrist, which is a doctor that specializes in the body, but not a rheumatologist. They're like, look at it from a little bit of a different angle. And I have tried a couple of things, like I've gone to a new certified or registered dietitian to look at some of the nutrition aspects, and those have all been helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think mine's quite similar. So I have been to hand specialist again to get the splint brace as well. At the time, I was refused physiotherapy because of the level of inflammation that I had at the time. They felt that it would aggravate it a bit more. However, more recently, I have been referred on to physiotherapy, and I'm actually indulging in some private hydrotherapy sessions as well.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited.
Can you tell me about what that's like? I've never tried that. What is hydrotherapy? I haven't
started yet. I'm due to.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will. I will definitely let you know how it is on that front. So other things, I guess it's just really the mindset around it. Just trying to reframe what's really going on here, and not spinning off into the negative, but trying to find a better feeling thought. Embracing the thought, but trying to find a better feeling thought, like I was saying before, that I can actually do things. It's difficult, as you would know, Cheryl, with the simple everyday things such as using kitchen utensils, cutting things. It's the little things that most people take for granted. We really become conscious in that moment that it's difficult, the day-to-day life. But yet every day we do things, we cook, we attend to our babies. And so we need to recognize just how much we are truly accomplishing while still being in really severe pain, doing the everyday stuff. So it's just giving ourselves a lot of thanks and gratitude, and our bodies as well. Our bodies are such really beautiful beings, etc. And we take on so much that I don't think we fully give ourselves that gratitude and thanks. Just thank you for holding me up. Thank you for, my legs, my feet, for taking me, walking me to this place, etc. Because it's all things that are not easy to do, but yet we're still doing it every single day.
And I love the metaphor. My friend, Dr. Kara Wada, said she has Sjogren's, and she's an immunologist and allergist. And she said, I like to think of my immune system as misbehaving, thinking of it as like, it's like a toddler. They're trying their best, but sometimes they can't control their impulses, and thinking with compassion about what's going on in your body is so, it ends up feeling better than thinking I'm fighting like against my body. I know a lot of people, I mean, some people, whatever works for you, right? Some people find comfort in this like warrior language. And sometimes I use that language too. Like I'm fighting rheumatoid arthritis, you know, but other times it's better to think, oh, I have this, you know, my immune system, it's trying really hard and it's just misbehaving or misguided. You know, it's like, I'm going to go attack all these foreign invaders. And it just makes a mistake and thinks that my synovial lining of my joints is a foreign invader.
Yes,
And it's like,
yes.
okay, well, you know, like good try, you know, like thinking about it that way as opposed to, oh, like and it's okay to, again, allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling. But there's ways to, like you mentioned, reframe and kind of change the habitual way that you relate to yourself and your body
Yes.
and what's going on. So
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And that is true, actually. Yeah. And I've heard that before, actually, that pain is actually our body working on behalf of us and for us.
Oh, totally.
Exactly
It's the same with anxiety, because I've struggled a lot with anxiety, and anxiety is protective, right? Like you need it's your body's response to a threat, you know.
Yes.
Oh, hello from Angie from Peru. And so, you know, if you didn't have anxiety ever, then if you had a threat, like a big lion was trying to attack you, you would die, right?
Yeah,
Because then you'd just be like, la, 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 I don't have anxiety, you know? So, and it's the same. So, but the thing is to know that, okay, it's one thing to have the anxiety about things that are truly a threat, but other times we have anxiety about things that aren't really as big of a threat as they seem. But what we mentioned about pain, it's the same thing too. Having a response to pain, your brain wants to pay attention to it because it thinks there's a threat, you know. But with chronic pain, one of the phenomena that occurs with chronic pain is that the size of your response, your brain's detecting how important this pain is out of proportion to the actual amount of like tissue damage that's happened. So that's not to say that your pain is all in your head or you're not thinking about it correctly, but to know that sometimes we can, and this is not necessarily the case with a disease like rheumatoid arthritis that has a continuous process, but a lot of times we can have some degree of chronic pain on top of the rheumatoid arthritis pain. So yay.
Yeah.
And some people are having happy comments saying that what we're saying is helpful. So that's really good.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, actually that's, you mentioning anxiety, that's actually triggered what I actually wanted to say.
That, oh, perfect.
That I found that my flare-ups are really spurred on when I get into an anxious state as well. Yeah. So when I'm thinking about, oh my, you know, I start to go in my head and start to think about all the things that I have to do in the future, and I'm in that state of mode, that's when I find my body responds in that way. So I think it's brilliant that you touched upon that as well. So I'm really trying and mastering how to be very present, consciously present in this moment. Oh
my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so
not
hard
easy to do. It's not.
Well, and it's so funny because I always tell a story when I was first learning like mindfulness from my therapist, and she was like, and I have two different ones, but yeah, she and he both had said things like, can you just sit with the uncertainty? Because my anxiety is a lot about uncertainty. What's going to happen?
Yes.
You know, is this new medication going to work? Is it not going to work? Am I going to flare up? What should I do? Is this the right thing? And she's like, you know, can you sit with it? And I was like, why? Like, what kind of, like, this is a sadistic therapy. You're telling me to sit with my uncomfortable feelings. Like, no, I want you to tell me how to feel better. Like, I'm going to therapy to feel better. And they had this really amazing quote, and it's from Acceptance and Commitment Therapy, also known as ACT. And they said, ACT isn't about feeling better. It's about feeling better, meaning allowing yourself to feel in a more deeper way, as opposed to trying to feel better. And I don't know in the UK if it's as much this way, but in the US, it's like the predominant message is it's all about, you need to feel happy. You need to feel happy, you know, and like just change your mindset so you feel happy. But what's crazy, or not crazy, I don't want to use that word. What's been really surprising and wonderful for me is that when I stopped pressuring myself to feel better all the time and feel happy all the time, I did feel happier because I felt more at peace. But you can't get there by trying. It's like you can't achieve the goal by trying to go directly to the goal. It's like an indirect process.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. I think you hit the nail there. And, you know, I think just growing up and just just hearing other people talk, we're kind of, you know, we're kind of taught to dismiss our thoughts, you know, what we're feeling, etc. You know,
Yes.
feel happy, feel good, make yourself, kind of forcing yourself. But as humans, we can't always feel happy. You know, that's not
No,
human nature. So it's
I think
embracing how
that's
we're
so true.
feeling. Yeah.
And I think I'm curious if you'll find this as a parent as your child gets a little older, because it was really amazing to me. I started going to therapy when my son had just turned 1. And when I became, when I started the process of allowing myself to feel my feelings as my child became a toddler, where they have big feelings, it allowed me to, it helped me allow him to just have feelings. And like you said, so often we're told that our feelings are bad or you're punished for your
Yes.
feelings. And I'll constantly tell my son, it's okay to feel angry or to feel sad, but it's not okay your actions, your behaviors based on, I mean, he's much older now, but what I would say is like, it's okay to feel angry and, but it's not okay to hit someone. It's not, it's the
Yes.
same way for us, as adults. It's okay. Any feeling is okay. We are
Yeah.
feeling beings.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Apparently we're being very zen right now.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. So I realized, like, even for me becoming an occupational therapist, which is like a helping profession, right?
Mhm.
And one of the hardest things for me when I worked at pediatrics before doing my current work, and I would always want to, like, do that classic thing. You want to solve the person's problem or make them feel better. And I
Yeah.
realized that part of my, and I would feel so much anxiety about that. Like if the child wasn't doing well, I would think it was my fault. And I would,
Yes.
go on these spirals. And then I realized, oh, like, they're just humans. They're humans that are going to feel happy sometimes, feel sad other times. My job is to help them cope with those feelings,
Yes.
not
Yes.
to, but it's like, oh my gosh, it's such a big mind shift.
It is. It is. And, you know, it's something that we just need to continually work every day on every day. And as you said, it's about finding that balance, that inner peace, and not dismissing our
Yes.
feelings, feeling into
Yeah.
it. So I love that as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
so many great people on. I'm loving it.
I know. And from all over the world. That's what I love about like social media. I mean, just in general, that you can connect to people across the globe.
Yes.
Yeah, but I do time wise, I want to, unfortunately, I have to start wrapping it up just because we had some things come up today. But I want to make sure I give you time to talk about anything else you want to talk about, like you're totally would love to hear if you would like to share about your coaching programs too, just because I'm trying to, I always want to support and amplify, the work of other people with chronic illnesses and also, people of color, non-white people, because the chronic illness space, at least in the US especially, is very predominantly like white, so I'm trying to
Yeah.
do a
Yeah.
better job as an ally. So
I love that. I love that mission as well.
yeah,
Yeah. So for those that have just jumped on, I did
yeah.
announce that I am a business growth coach supporting women in corporate that want to start an online business whilst in a 9 to 5. So if it's a seed of an idea, even if you're started maybe a couple of months on, but you're not seeing the traction that you truly desire
Mm-hmm.
in your business, you don't have that overall clarity, because sometimes we have these big goals, but we're not quite clear on just how to get there, what it takes, what we should be doing, the
Mm-hmm.
right actions to be taken, because time is our
Right.
biggest commodity, something very valuable. So it's where to focus your time, mind, and energy so that you can get the biggest results. So that's exactly what myself and my business partner, Charlotte, we're dynamic duo. We're known as the dynamic duo in the online space. That's what we do. So if you feel called to maybe reach out to myself, then I invite you just to drop me a DM or follow my page. I am Grace Nelson, just to find out more tips on what I share. I show up daily, sharing value, and I would love to support you on your journey. And from one RA lady to another, or to those that are watching, would love to support you if you're going through the same thing, because it's not just business strategy that I teach. It's also mindset and the energy work, because it can be an exhausting process with RA.
Mm-hmm.
So it's how do you find that energy to start a new venture, which is essentially like giving birth to a new baby. as well as
Mm-hmm.
alongside your 9 to 5, as well as your family and all other commitments. How is it possible to do all of this? So I really teach from that kind of experiential mode, just showing you my journey, how it can be done, what works, what doesn't work, importantly, so that you can find your own personalized pathway to doing so as well. So I very much teach in a bespoke kind of way. So I invite you, if you feel
Mm.
called, just to send me a DM or connect with me. So thank you, Cheryl, for
Oh,
that
that's
opportunity.
oh that no, that's so wonderful. I mean, and I think there are so many people with rheumatoid arthritis or other, any sort of health challenges, or even without them anyway, who feel stuck in that kind of nine to
Yes.
five rut, and they don't have the flexibility. Even after COVID, there's people who, a lot of jobs realized, oh, we can let people work remotely, but now they're saying, oh, you have to come back in. So having that freedom of having an online stream of income is so helpful for so many. I know some of the people who've come onto this call have some like side ventures as well, whether that's
Yes.
an Etsy store or something else. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's wonderful that you're supporting people, and you're showing through your example that it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just very much about, leading myself first, showing other people through my
Mm,
experiences what can be done, so that, it's easier just to connect and you don't feel like this is going to be a lot of hard work, really going to take a toll on me, but it can be done. Your
yeah,
desires are yours for a reason. So it's about saying yes to yourself and moving towards them. That's what I truly believe.
that's so beautiful. It reminds me of something that my 11th grade English teacher said. So,
All right.
all the teachers out there, we still remember things sometimes as of
Yeah.
20 years ago, but she really drilled this into us. She said, show, don't tell. Like,
Yes.
show in your writing instead of,
Hmm.
and so I think in your example, you're showing as well. Sometimes we do need to be told, sometimes my brain's a little slow
Yeah.
sometimes, like with the mindfulness stuff. I was like, you need to tell me again, like I'm still not getting it. But yeah, showing is the most powerful.
Yes,
So
it is. I agree.
yeah,
Well,
that's
Cheryl,
so
thank
great.
you so much for having me in your world, being connected with your lovely audience. I've really enjoyed myself sharing my
It's
journey and story. Brilliant.
yay, thank you all.
Thank you. Take care. Bye
You
bye.
too. Bye bye.